At 4 a.m. on December 6th, we left Cagayan de Oro on a bus bound for Ozamis City. We were invited by the Department of Tourism to join the Misamis Occidental Familiarization Tour. The fare was 415 pesos, and the trip took around 5 hours via the Panguil Bay Bridge, including all stops. We reached the Iligan Integrated Bus Terminal at around 5:56 a.m. The place is calm, and there aren't many people at the terminal yet. I kind of miss these kinds of trips. You know that moment when you stare out the window, quietly letting time drift by. Passing through Iligan City proper. Somewhere along the way, I fell asleep and woke up just as we were crossing the Panguil Bay Bridge. By 9:13 a.m., we entered Tangub City. The ride became more cramped, likely because it was the weekend and many passengers were heading home. This is my second time visiting Ozamiz. I haven't traveled much around this part of northern Mindanao, simply because I never had a reason to. Being invited to join an event like this feels like a quiet privilege, one that reminds me how travel often begins with an opportunity. At 9:46 a.m., after a total travel time of about 5 hours and 40 minutes, we finally arrived at the Ozamis Integrated Bus Terminal. Overall, it was a smooth trip, despite the several stops along the way. The first itinerary is to visit Cotta Fort, just 10 minutes away from the Ozamis bus terminal, at least according to Google Maps. We took motor cabs from the terminal, paying 40 pesos per person. Later, I learned from locals that the usual fare is only 20 pesos. A small difference, but it says a lot about knowing the place versus just passing through. I asked the driver where I could find some good soup spots around the city. He mentioned a place called Roking's that serves Balbacua, a beef stew, and said it tastes better than other Balbacua spots in the city. Ozamiz is a city of narrow roads. Because of that, motorcycles and motorcabs aren't just convenient, they're necessary. Movement here feels more personal, more grounded, shaped by the limits of the streets themselves. Along the way, I couldn't help but notice the tricycles. Each one carried a distinct design, almost like a signature. They weren't just vehicles. They felt like moving expressions of the people who built and drove them. It made me wonder what stories these bikes had seen. Near Cotta Fort, beside the Ascenso Ozamis Wellness Park, I spoke with one of the tricycle drivers. He said there wasn't much written history behind them. What he did share was simpler. Tricycles aren't allowed on the main roads, and penalties are common. Driving one is not a choice, but a means to survive. A day's work for a day's living. Now, we arrive at Cotta Fort, a centuries-old structure in Ozamis City, Misamis Occidental. Built as a defensive fortress, Cotta Fort stands as a quiet witness to the city's past, its old walls holding stories of generations gone by.
Fuerte, mas una pa ni siyang naitayo kaysa ang US na himong United States of America. Why? USA 1776. This was 1756. Yung nanin niya siya ka palangga na mo dinhin. Now, take note of this. Not all places sa Philippines is na Fuerte. It was Mother Spain ang mag-decide sa una kung ang lugar dapat ba nilang i-fortify. Pagkita sa mapa, nga naagin siya sa isa ka lugar na strategic, sa economics, sa defense, sa tanan-tanan na ay hanalay na nila utangan o stronghold. So ang naitabo mangoling na siya, ang Pilipinas at mga 1750s, grabe ang atong problema sa kidnapping sa mga piracy. Mga pirata, nag-swarm sa tanan, abot sa Manila, abot sa Visayas. So what happened was, ang kining lugar, i-atake po siya sa mga pirata. Kung nakita na siya sa isang Spanish priest, yung Father Lucas, pag nakita ni Father Lucas na ang mga Spanish kami, Spanish priest kami, dili bitong kayo na sila malungkol kay mga family. Varieties with sa singing contest, dito mga proceeds at may gituro ng weakness sa Ozamis. Actually, this is the
If you're into adventurous food and local explorations, this spot is not to be missed. Just a 6-minute motor cab ride from Cotta Fort, Roking is located near City Hall Road. It's one of the city's most famous Sabawan spots, a bustling local eatery where people line up for a taste of their signature dishes. Inside, the space is simple, yet the food keeps the crowd coming, filling the air with the warmth of comfort and flavor.
Kagaya dito mo.
Okay.
Sa dito po ni sila atong sinitro. Balhin man sila dari sunod po mi dire. Bukan mi kaon mi Balbakua. Kami magtimpla ko.
Ako si ngalan Rupel pero ang ako angga Roking. Ngalan as kong papa. Nata karon sa atbang sa City Court. Ang baligya dire kay exclusive rami Balbakua. Kani sinunod na po sa mga amahan. 1960s pa din sa Ozamis sa unang panahon kamera. Yan karon daghan naman kay nagbaligya po. Kung lanlahan may timpla. Mo ginaandan sukad pa sa una 1960s pa. Kay mo man ay kon sa kung ginikanan ka ng source of income ba. Mo gini mura pa naman nasundo hantod karon. Uban ra pag sulta dili ako. Kung di ka kanig Ozamis, di ka tapos Balbakua, dili mo kumpleto yung paganin sa Ozamis. Kaya pinakakaraan yun yung Balbacua sa Ozamis. Mo imong baka na ba mo gina imong panginabuhi. Mo survive ka kung mo po imong gusto nga klase sa panginabuhi. Kung love ni mo imong trabaho, di ka problema kay kabalo na mo sa sikot-sikot. Ang magsugod to negosyo, kugi lang gina siya. Paano gina naman ang primero ra mo gilisod ang negosyo. Sa ato na kay suki, diyan na ka magsugod og pan, mag-expand jud ka. Karon man jud basta-basta bago lang ka magsugod, di ka kakuano kay mo kay suki klaro. Nimo nga walk-in lang madugay makatilaw na sa produkto nga ganahan na sila magbalik-balik gina magkadaghan gina kay mangimbitar man ang uban nga nakatilaw sa imong produkto, mubalik gina, then mangimbitar ko magkadaghan gina. Primero lisod ko manegosyo ka. Kaya pamukisuki. Mutol-tol na sila basta mangayan sa limong kwan. Yung ang baligya, mangay sila.
Kuan na sir, among pinakasikat diri is ang Roking's Balbacua, very well known yun siya diri sa Ozamis. Kani siya bisita naman siya taga Pagadian. Amo siya gidala diri para makatilaw siya sa best Balbakua in Ozamis.
Shout out, nabog po Pagadian.
Napay mga kauman. Shout out.
The food experience was amazing. If you're in Ozamiz, be sure to try Roking's Balbakua. That wraps up this part of the vlog. Next, we'll head to Tudela to see a traditional Subanen house. Then, zip over to Oroquieta City to try their Lumayagan dishes and visit the Light a Tree Christmas display. Thank you for watching. This is Lost and Hungry PH. God bless.